Hi everyone, happy holidays, happy new year, happy new haircut. I thought it would be fun to talk about my worst books of 2023. I did not complete my reading goal last year because I'm f***ing stupid, so I'm just in a bad mood. 2023 was not a good year for me in general, and it was reflected in my book choices, which is awesome. I love when I can read books and still be reminded about how much my life sucks. So here are the books that I did not like in 2023. I have 15 books that I read last year that I did not like. That's like half of the books that I read. Starting off, I wanted to go through some short stories because I read quite a few of those, and that's probably why my list is so long. If you watched my last video, you would know that I value, let me hear you say it, quantity over quality. So short stories were really attractive to me because I'm reading a billion stories and they only take like 2 seconds to read each. That's freaking awesome. It turns out it wasn't. I think I'm more of a atmospheric, slow burner, world building, thorough character development girly. I can't help but start a short story and think this is ending in 10 or so pages. What's the point of reading it? So yeah, starting off, we've got Diary of a Madman and Other Stories by Nikolai Gogol. Diary of a Madman was funny. Do I remember a lot of what happened? No. Let alone all the other stories that are in this collection? No. There's also Tolstoy's The Death of Ivan Ilyich and Other Stories. I don't really remember anything. The death of Ivan was sad. That's all I got. Next we've got Dubliners by James Joyce. This book has literally fallen apart because I was so angry because of how much I hate Irish people. I hate Irish people, if you can even call them people. They're just gremlins with orange hair. There's a reason why they almost died back in the 1800s. And obviously I didn't like this book because James Joyce is Irish. And he's writing about Irish people. Next, I'm putting Gulliver's Travels here because it is kind of like a short story collection. It's just this guy who travels to a bunch of weird and wacky places with small people and giant people, etc. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about why I didn't like this book. I was thinking maybe I just don't like stories about not real people. Maybe I'm just really, really boring and don't like these fantastical, wild stories. But I read Arabian Nights this year, and that's a short story collection that I enjoyed. That's a short story collection that's not on this list, the only one. And that's wacky, delirious, funny, crazy. Maybe I just don't like satires. If you want to write something about silly, stereotypical governmental bodies, then write something real. I was reading like all of these descriptions and details of places and people that didn't exist, and I was like, oh, but like it's meant to say something about the real world, but it doesn't, because this isn't real. This is so unreal that I stopped reading when he gets to the land of giants and he's like a little guy, he's a little plaything for the royal family, and like the women, the maids and stuff were obviously attracted to him and brought him to their rooms and like did freaky shit with him, like get undressed in front of him and stuff, and he found that incredibly unattractive. He found these giant women unattractive, and I was like, okay, one, like, why am I reading this? And two, like, you're just f***ing lying. Like, tell that to all the short kings out there that would love to be in your place. It just didn't make any sense to me. Next, we've got I Am a Cat by Soseki Natsume. This is a gigantic book, but I'm adding it in short stories because it's like serial anecdotes of human life in Meiji era Japan. I was more amused than I thought I would be. I love everything related to the cat. I loved everything that the cat was saying and doing. I love cats. I love cats. Everything else I did not like. I did not like the people. I did not like the human drama. I did not like their conversations, but I did like the rest of it. But by a certain point, I was like, do I really need to listen to a talking cat talk about Meiji era Japan? Do I really need to know this much about Meiji era Japan? And the answer was no. So I put down the book, but it was okay. There was also Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. These were kind of short stories. It's just different stories of people traveling back in time and what they were doing. I read this just because it did what it did. And, you know, that's really great. Okay, those were short story collection-ish books. Transitioning very smoothly, I wanted to talk about this book next because it's a short story in and of itself. The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. Look how disgusting this cover is, first off. Like, why does it look like someone's just smeared shit all over it? It's quite representative to how I feel towards this book. This was, yep, An Old Man and the Sea. That's what it's about. I was just like, what? This was so boring. I don't know how. This was so boring. This was so boring. Maybe I dislike this because it's not a collection of short stories, it's just one. And that makes it even worse for me. I read Moby Dick last year. And this was just a SparkNote summary of Moby Dick. Some man gets on the sea and wants to catch a big fish. He catches the big fish. He puts the big fish on his boat. The sharks start eating the big fish. He gets rid of the sharks eating the big fish and then he goes home. The difference is Moby Dick had cool whale facts, cool fishing facts, cool religious symbolism and allegories. What was this? I tried giving Ernest Hemingway another chance with The Sun Also Rises. And now I'm convinced that he was a hack. He was a commie hack. He was a commie hack with big commie friends when communism was big. And he somehow rose to the top with this completely mundane writing that's meant to showcase the beauty of everyday life. Or some shit. I don't care. I don't care about old people harem. This is old people harem, and that's gross. Post-war boomers, the first modern writers, you guys were boring. You guys were boring. Enough. The next one might be controversial. I don't know. It's James Joyce, A Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man. I read this before I read Dubliners. This was my first go into James Joyce's works. I don't think I have a problem necessarily with the actual book structure. Maybe I have a problem with James Joyce. One, because he's Irish, and two, he's really gay. Don't like that. Irish and gay? Yikes. The worst two things that you ever want to be. I really, really enjoyed the first half of this book. I loved the stream of consciousness prose in the perspective of a growing young man and how that prose matures as he grows throughout this book. The first page literally has a song that goes tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-dee, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la. Like, that's really silly. And then as you get to know him and the environment that he's growing in, which is a Christian institution, you get to hear about all his fears and doubts and questions about sin and death and hell. And then it falls off. There's this sudden break where he's asked to be some sort of minister for the school, something like that. And he was like, nah, I don't want to believe in God anymore. I want to be a poet. And that's so cringe. It was just a sudden leap of unfaith. And that leap was off a shallow cliff that didn't kill you, so you just got severe brain damage, and that brain damage lingers throughout the rest of this book. His family hates him. You get introduced to these friends who you don't care about. They're just there so he can shill his essay on aesthetics, and I'm not going to say anything about that certain essay and how it's based on objective foundations that he apparently lets go of. So maybe I just have a problem with Joyce as a person in general. But I hope the positives carry over to Ulysses, which I have on my shelf, and I'm still excited to read that despite not liking the latter half of this very much, or Dubliners very much. Next, I have Snow Country by Yasunari Kawabata. This, I don't remember anything that happens. I remember the ending. I remember skimming a lot of the book to get to the ending. This just seemed quite unimportant to me. And honestly, I love certain romance stories, but this was really boring. I don't care about the people in this. That's that. I don't have much to say about that. Next, I have To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I read The Waves a bit before this, maybe a few weeks before this, and I liked it because it was extreme in the way that it was a conceptual novel. This felt like Virginia Woolf was squishing her prose into a traditional mold, and I didn't really like that. Her writing just sounds so unfinished, which is unbearable. Every paragraph felt like an avalanche of words. Virginia Woolf was definitely the first art hoe ever, and good for her, but it just reminds me of all the freeform poetry that you see on Instagram. And maybe it was giving me PTSD because I have a friend who writes those types of poems, and she sends them to me to proofread and edit them, and I have to be like, oh my god, this is so brave and emotional of you. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences in such a personal form. Wow. I don't know, I just didn't really enjoy it. I couldn't really finish it. It just felt like she did not edit this. And maybe that's the point, etc., etc. Next, I've got America by Franz Kafka. I don't know when I stopped reading, but I think it was quite early. This just made me like really angry because I think it's in the introduction of this, or maybe on the wiki. His ass never even went to America. Why is he writing about it? That makes me really angry. That makes me really angry. I love the great American novel, and this is like an insult to that. It made me really angry. I think I've read all of Franz Kafka's most famous novels now, and by the end I was like, man, I wish this guy would stop writing about how much he hates his dad and writing it through these mysterious governments. But you know what, man, stick to what you know. People should just stick to what they know, even if it is just hating your parents. You're good at that, so just stick to that, okay? Don't be going out of your comfort zone. Some people, most people, should not be doing that. I tried reading Almost Transparent Blue by Ryu Murakami. I don't have to read a book about how bad drugs are, how bad addiction, hedonism, sex is, to know that it's bad. I don't have to read about it. I live in this city now. I can go outside and experience it secondhand. I stopped reading when there was a big orgy happening and the details of that. I don't need to know. Next, I also read No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai. I read the manga adapted by Junji Ito, and that was really, really good. I really, really liked that. I liked it more than I liked this book. I'm not really a fan of My Diary Des, Dear Diary, I'm a horrible person. This book should not have existed. You should have tried harder to kill yourself. Sorry. I think it's a little strange, a little sussy that he's tried committing suicide with another person like several times, and he ends up living and they end up dying. It's a little... Try harder. That's all. And the last book on this list, I'm giving it to A Confederacy of Dunces by John Kennedy Toole. It was really funny for the first 100 pages, maybe even just the 50 pages, but then he just keeps going. And look, he looks really cute here. He's not that cute in the book. I was picturing Slavoj Zizek in his sweaty gray t-shirt that he hasn't changed out of for a couple months. I was picturing him double fisting 2 hot dogs into his mouth. That's him. That's who it's about. Man, is this guy annoying. Am I meant to like this guy or something? Because it wasn't working. I kept reading thinking he was going to go through a redemption arc or something, and that never happened. I just don't really like people very much. I don't. That goes for him, that goes for Osamu Dazai, that goes to the people in Almost Transparent Blue, that goes to even James Joyce in A Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man. And there we have it. My worst books of 2023. I hope you guys enjoyed, because I sure did not. I don't want to think about these books ever again. If you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you want to see my best books of 2023. Maybe I'll do that. Let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.